How'd I do?
I'm excited to be here. Last year, I think I beamed in from Cairo, Egypt. I was there watching my niece's graduation and meeting with some of our amazing IUPUI alumni there from the McKinney School of Law. And it's really an honor to be here with you today. And I'm going to share a little bit, really it's going to tie in a little bit of everything. Because I think as you all represent, our international alumni also represent everything that we are as a university. And they're really that living embodiment, as you are, to who we are as a university. So I'm going to share a little bit about why this matters. Why does it matter that we reach out to our international alumni and engage with them in a meaningful way? As we've heard a couple times, 1820, we're coming up on 200 years. You know, that's when our university was founded. 34 years later, the IUAA was founded. About in 1890, so do the math, in 1890, Takakuma Akudo from Japan was the first non-North American student to come to Indiana University. And he was our first graduate. 109 years later, in 1999, the IUAA assigned somebody to work with our international alumni on engagement purposes, so an intentional way to engage with those people. Today, 45,000 international alumni, many more if you include all the people that have come here from abroad as visiting scholars, to study at the journalism school, to come for short-term entrepreneurship programs, whatever it might be. The number is much larger of people who, honestly, even if they were here for a month, they love this place. So the numbers are incredible. But from over 150 countries they represent, so a huge portion of our world today. And we now have 47 global chapters outside of the United States as alumni chapters from 43 different countries. So we have a pretty good coverage. A lot of that was driven by President McRobbie's vision, or the International Strategic Plan, focusing in on 30 to 32 priority countries that the university has, so a very important part of that. I want to name a few of our international alumni who are they're pretty successful. They're doing all right in life. President Michael Higgins from Ireland, if you were at graduation a few years ago, he was the commencement speaker. We have the children of President Erdogan in Turkey, who are proud alums of this university. The former Minister of the Hajj, Bandar Hajar in Saudi Arabia. One of the 100 most powerful women in the world, according to Forbes and their list, is one of our alums. Pusadi Tamtai, the Deputy Governor of Bangkok, and some in this room have met some of these people, and they truly are phenomenal alums. And there's thousands of others who truly are the movers and shakers of their communities, their countries, and the world. All over the world, you can certainly see the footprint of Indiana University, and we've heard a little bit about that today. Had the privilege of visiting the AMPATH program at University of Moi in Kenya. Others that were recently celebrated, we were at the University of Bologna, again talking about the power of study abroad. 50 years, we started a consortium there that now has over a dozen universities that partner with us in that study abroad consortium in Bologna. We were recently in Poland with President McRobbie as well, celebrating 40 years. And if you go back in time and think about where was Poland 40 years ago, you know that the relationship between Eastern Europe and the United States was not so warm. It was a little cold, wasn't it? So it was a very important part in our history where it created a bridge. And out of these communities, whether they received a degree from here, came to study, did short-term exchange programs, they have a special place in their heart for Indiana University and have developed communities of engagement. So Indiana has played a key role, obviously, in the development of global leaders, which in turn, it develops goodwill. It certainly has put Indiana on the map, that study abroad map, that are people who end up in diplomacy, who work in areas where they have to deal with different cultures. This has been a very key part. So the question I often get, and I think we're a state university, a lot of state taxpayer dollars, why does this matter to our Indiana state residents? Why does it matter to the students that come here from Indiana? And Kathy, Thank you, Kathy, because I think she really painted a wonderful picture of why that is so important. We know that we live in a more and more globalized world. It's not getting less and less globalized. It's getting more and more globalized. And it's much more likely that our teachers who graduate from here are going to be interacting with different cultures, interacting with people from different countries. Our business people, our artists, our politicians, everyone that comes out of this place is more and more likely to be working in a global environment. So it's very important that we create that environment here that they will experience when they graduate and they leave. Our diversity as a university stretches beyond gender, it's beyond the races that are represented here in the United States. It goes beyond, it goes to all 150 countries where our students come from, where our alumni now come from. And I believe that's a key part to why it's important to continue to engage in the world, both our alums and our students and our faculty. So we come to our international alumni, this incredible resource of 45,000 people around the world with insider knowledge and understanding of their regions of the world. A resource and a part of our larger Hoosier family that strengthens not just what happens in the classroom, but partners with us to strengthen our internationalization. A big part of our history as Indiana University. Many of our global alumni, if you go abroad, some of you have traveled, they host our students. We have some students in the room. Maybe they've been hosted by alumni when they travel. They facilitate research, so the work that Fred Kate and so many more of the faculty are doing. They facilitate exchange relationships. They facilitate, and they are becoming more and more active as donors to the university. If you've tracked philanthropy globally, it's different everywhere you go. And it's becoming more and more of a topic for our international alums and in their countries. How do you support things that you value? So another thing, if you go, I'll tell you a little story. We have a family in Indonesia. I had one person say, well, you know, they're not going to send their kids here. They're going to come, they're going to go back. They're kind of done. No. I've got a family in Bandung, Indonesia. They have 19 family members that have come to Indiana University. I think there's only a couple families that have more. So the legacy is strong, and they continue to really encourage their family members to come back. I think one of the things that I think about a lot is how our borders are not what they used to be. For me, for you, for many people, we are going back and forth. Our international alumni are living here in the U.S. Our U.S. alumni are often living abroad. And they are carrying on business, they are there as teachers, they are there doing the good work that they do. And so we need to create that global environment of alumni engagement that I think is so important to becoming global citizens. So here's where I get really excited, because I think particularly for our chapters in larger cities, but also for all the chapters in this room that you're affiliated with, that you spend time with. There's a global Indiana network, as we've been talking about, available to you. It's accessible to you. It is honestly the ultimate Rolodex. And we don't use Rolodexes anymore, but it really is. I mean, anywhere you go. And we talked yesterday about app development. You know, one day we're going to get there to where it really is. Any city you go to, bam, you can connect, you can spend time with alums, you can network for business purposes. There's that common bond, no matter what the cultural differences are. Indiana University is that common bond, and it creates that common bond right away. Recently, on our trip to Europe, I had to swing through Zurich, and Larry Brownlee, one of our amazing opera singers out of the Jacobs School of Music, was there preparing to perform an opera. And it brought out everybody. All the alums wanted to get together, and they wanted to see Larry, and they wanted to go to his opera, even though most of them weren't huge opera fans. They did it because this was celebrating the spirit of IU. It was celebrating the value that comes out of this place. So I think there's a lot to offer. In Poland, I had the opportunity to sit down with Franek Lira, who, anyone who's been to Poland, Franek was one of the first Eastern Europeans to come to the U.S. on a Fulbright scholarship from Eastern Europe. Again, Poland, communist Poland, came here, didn't know anything. The FBI questioned him a few times. He met President Kennedy, incredible guy. But what did he talk about for 3 hours? He talked about his time at IU and how transformational it was in his life. How transformational it was that Indiana University and the work that we were doing with Poland was changing the future of those two countries, was changing the future of East and West. And so key pieces to how we interact with the world lie within our alumni network. We rewind a few more months, and I'll tell you about Mam Rajawangse Desnada de School. That's a mouthful. Mam Rajawangse is also known as Kun Chai. Kun Chai is, if you've seen The King and I, King Rama IV in The King and I, Kun Chai is his grandson, one of his grandchildren. No one knew when he came to IU in 1964, and he happened to be the captain of Jerry Yeagley's first soccer team. So Jerry didn't even know this until we told him about 6 months ago. He's, what? He's just kind of blown away by all of this. So Kun Chai, for 30 years, worked as the King of Thailand's mother's personal secretary. In 30 years, they eradicated opium farm. Anyone heard of the Golden Triangle? Okay, Golden Triangle. In 30 years, they took a huge area of northern Thailand. Rebels, people running around 20,000 strong with dealing arms and drugs and the whole 9 yards. In 30 years, they eradicated the place of opium farming. They got rid of the arms trade, didn't arrest, what I'm told, one person. I'm sure somebody was arrested in there somewhere. And replaced it with a sustainable alternative livelihood model where now they're farming coffee, they're farming macadamia nuts, and by engaging with Kun Chai, IU now has access, and we have 7 schools that are actively looking at partnering with this foundation, both with students and faculty on research and all sorts of other things. So again, incredible resources. Indiana University's global presence is, actually I'll skip over that part. I already talked about that. The challenge really I would like to leave all of us with today is to think about the possibilities. I told you about Egypt. I grew up overseas. I grew up outside of the country. The United States, even though I'm an American passport holder, was a foreign country to me for much of my adult life until I finally learned the culture that I was from. And I think about our students, and I think about those that are going the other way, that are going to study abroad, that are living abroad. I think about the internet, that globalized environment that we live in today. And the possibilities for all of you, for our chapters abroad, for our alumni abroad, we're only scratching the surface. The potential that we have to really prepare our students, to really give all of us a much brighter, much more informative future is there. We are truly a global Indiana University family. Thank you.